What's happening there, guys, and welcome back to NBA Reloaded. In the current season of the NBA, we're witnessing some extremely disappointing performances. Often poor performances occur when a player is adjusting to a new team or with a new coach. It takes a while for players to find their zone once they lose it for some reason. Today, we're going to talk about the worst players in the NBA right now, so let's get started. Kevin Porter Jr. Kevin Porter proved himself last season by scoring 50 points and was predicted to be an emerging player for the Houston Rockets, but unfortunately, things aren't looking good for the Rockets' guard. In the last 26 games, Porter averaged 16.6 points and 6.3 assists. Moreover, he's shooting just 36% overall this season and hasn't been efficient. Due to Porter's low performance and his short temper, he's been under fire this season. On 1st of January 2022, during the game against the Denver Nuggets, Porter and teammate Christian Wood got into a verbal argument over something with Rockets assistant coach John Lucas at halftime. Porter then threw an object into the locker room and left the arena before the game ended. A couple of days later, Rockets' head coach Stephen Silas stated that he had suspended both Porter and Wood for 1 game each for their disrespectful behavior. Porter is still in the early stage of the season. He should focus more on improving his game instead of getting involved in controversies that could result in damaging his career with the Rockets. If Kevin Porter Jr. wants to make his name in the NBA, he should challenge and practice his key elements to bring out his best potential. In Houston, Porter continues to show potential. Porter has said that the Rockets saved his life, but the aggressive and immature behavior is not really making things look better for him. Joe Harris. Harris used to be a star player for the Brooklyn Nets, but he hasn't been seen performing well this season. Harris is shooting 10% worse from the field, as well as 7.5% from three-point range. He and his teammate Kyrie Irving used to be the main contributors for the Nets, but ever since Kyrie Irving left, Harris has been under stress because of his sole responsibility to score big for the team. Harris is also averaging his lowest scores with 11.3 ppg. Harris is a great player, but with an extreme amount of pressure on his shoulder, he's been under pressure and thus not performing well. As a shooter, he's limited to his position and can't control every aspect. Harris has achieved his career-high 8 three-pointers in a 149-146 loss to the Washington Wizards on January 31st, 2021. On February 19th, he set a franchise record as the fastest player to knock down 100 three-pointers in a season with 31 games played, surpassing the previous record accomplished by 4 players with 41 games. We think it's the stress of responsibility that causes a decline in his performance so low this season. Harris needs to push his boundaries and should take charge on his own, or else play can cause a big setback for his career. Nikola Vucevic. On 25th March 2021, the Orlando Magic traded Vucevic along with Al-Farouq Amino to the Chicago Bulls in exchange for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter, and 2 future first-round picks. Since joining the Bulls, Vucevic seems to have broken and set a few records, such as when he scored his 32nd double-double of the season and second as a Bull with 22 points and a game-high 13 rebounds, along with 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in a 115-107 win over the Brooklyn Nets, ending the Bulls' longest-running losing streak of the season at 6 games. He also managed to set a record for his second triple-double of the season and the 4th of his career with 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 10 assists in a 121-99 win over the Boston Celtics, becoming the first Bulls player to log a triple-double since Jimmy Butler in 2017. But lately, in the current season, his performance is almost non-existent for the Bulls. His teammate DeMar DeRozan looks like an All-NBA candidate, as well as Zach LaVine. Lonzo Ball is a great fit in town and is distributed well to these players. He's averaging 13.4 ppg. His performance has been missing, and the management of the team also acknowledges the declining performance of Harris, which is what they're currently doing right now. Duncan Robinson. Miami Heat re-signed Duncan Robinson in hopes of keeping him as one of their top assets, but unfortunately, it's not looking to be as such. Robinson looks lost and clueless lately. He's shooting just 34.9% from the field and 32.5% from the three-point range. His 10.6 points are his lowest since his rookie year when he played 15 games. The Heat is giving Robinson a lot of money. This will look like a terrible contract if Robinson doesn't get out of this confusing phase and once again rule as one of the most efficient shooters in the league. Robinson was consistent the last 2 years, which is why the Heat offered him another contract of $100 million. To be honest, we also think that the time management is regretting offering the contract to Robinson because of his almost non-existence in the game. Some sources are claiming that Robinson could be a part of trade packages to get bigger stars like Mitchell or Joel Embiid. Miami has been talking about acquiring another All-Star, so Robinson could be a piece in exchange for a bigger player. There's no doubt that Robinson is one of the best shooters in the history of the NBA because if we look at his stats, he scored some awesome points. On December 4th, in a 129-103 win against the Memphis Grizzlies, Robinson recorded his 600 three-pointers as the fastest player to reach the milestone in just 184 games, surpassing the prior record made by Donovan Mitchell in 240 games. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has been overrated even after his performance has been average this season. He's never played an All-Star game and still was picked by the Kings. The reason for picking him over some great players is still not revealed as of yet. The Kings have been famous for making irrational selections for a decade, and that's the main reason why they haven't qualified for playoffs since 2006. Fox has surely been having a career crisis in the current games if we compare his performance with last season. He gave some great performances last year with an average of 23.2 points per game with 7.2 assists. He'll finish the 2021-22 season averaging 23.2 points, 5.6 assists, 3.9 rebounds, and 1.2 steals in 35.3 minutes. Many sources and analysis state that Fox has been overpaid by the Kings and is considered a star player in the NBA. Many other players who are giving their best performance are still being paid less compared to him. His shooting is 8% worse than last year. Kristaps Porzingis. When the Mavericks chose Porzingis, they thought they'd be making some big hits with Porzingis' expertise, but unfortunately in this case, the opposite happened. Instead, they got the future MVP and overpaid big. Health issues have been one of the major reasons behind the poor performance of Porzingis for the past few years now. The contract that was looking good in favor of the Mavericks has backfired ever since. It's been confirmed that the Mavericks traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. While many at the time thought that the Wizards were clear winners, the trade has helped fuel a run to the Western Conference Finals for the Mavericks. Porzingis is averaging 14.8 points, 6.2 rebounds, shooting 35.7% from the field and 20% from three-point range. Porzingis was named the Unicorn because of his long height of 7 feet, but it doesn't really matter when he isn't performing well or utilizing his strong exterior and improving his performance. Russell Westbrook. When Russell Westbrook was picked by the Los Angeles Lakers, they were looking forward to seeing their team in a good form. Ironically, Russell proved them wrong with his bad performance, and it might not be wrong when we say that the Lakers are literally regretting signing him up in the first place. Westbrook's numbers are down from last year, but are respectable at 19.0 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 7.9 assists. But is it enough for the Lakers, who predicted him to be a top star on the team? The Lakers want him to perform well rather than just scoring average points, as it's been the major reason for picking him up in the draft. Even having a star player like LeBron James and Russell Westbrook isn't doing much for the Lakers. Westbrook ranks number 30 in the player efficiency ranking. This concludes our video. Do be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, do comment down below your pick of the worst NBA players right now. We'll be back here again with a new video soon. Until then, stay tuned and we'll see you again later.